Hey everybody, Matt Covert here again from howtobecome-a-racecardriver.com, and this is the first video in the series that is kind of a technical video, and I love this technical stuff, and I think it's really important for people to understand what exactly is going on with their car, because I meet drivers a lot and I always talk to them about, hey, what are you doing with this and this, and they just don't really understand how the different systems in their car work, and I think that's really important. So we're going to start with how the brakes in your car actually work. Let's look at the actual mechanics. And I've gone ahead and drawn this little diagram already, and I'll just take you through it. Brake systems are pretty simple. This is the simplest kind of brake system you can have. A lot of new cars are a little more complicated with sensors and whatnot, and I'll briefly explain those in a few moments. But let's just go through the simple basics first here, okay? This is the brake pedal, and this is where you would put force into the system. And this slight amount of mechanical advantage gives you a huge amount of pressure right about here on the pedal. And what you're doing is you're pushing this piston into this assembly, which is called the master cylinder, and that's what holds the fluid reserve. And the whole brake concept is using hydraulics, which is just moving force from one place to another, okay? And you can't compress a liquid, and that's the concept. If you impart a force on this end, that force gets transferred all the way down over here, and that's what you're doing, is you're pushing the brakes, creating a force inside the cylinder, and you are forcing brake fluid down through the brake lines to a caliper, which is the device that kind of straddles the rotors. This is a rotor from an end view. Oops, get rid of that. So pressure comes into the caliper here, and there's another piston in the middle, you can see right there. Squeezing force, which straddles the rotor, is what actually stops the car. And this is the simplest system. It's pretty easy to understand, it really is, okay? A lot of cars are pretty complicated now because there are, let's say there be a sensor mounted on part of the wheel, which monitors whatever the rotor is doing, or maybe the wheel assembly, and that can send an electrical impulse to a computer to tell the car if the wheel is locked up, and that's what ABS brakes are. It just monitors the different speeds of the wheels and can automatically engage braking systems to kind of counteract wheels that are either skidding or spinning too fast or something like that. ABS, I guess I should say ABS and traction control kind of work together in that way. But like I said, this is the basics. It's really easy. And I think I'm going to go a little bit further here and just briefly touch on performance brakes as well. There's kind of two schools of thought, and of course I kind of relate everything to autocross, and we'll just say track as well. Okay, a lot of people think that they have to do brake upgrades to their autocross car, and I guess when you're in the performance category or racing category, I would agree with that. But when you're in a factory category or stock category, they call it street now, I think, there's really no need to, because autocross's brake you're really slowing the car down from maybe 50 miles an hour to maybe 30 miles an hour. And that happens very quickly over the course of just a couple seconds. And you may only do it, let's just say, just as a guess, 5 times during a run. Okay, well, after that run, you probably have 10 minutes of downtime for the brakes to cool. So, and I guess I should have started with this. Brakes don't ever really heat up in autocross because there's so much downtime, okay? So performance brakes don't really help you because a lot of those brakes don't actually come into their sweet spot until they're hot. And that's what track brakes are all about. And these are cars that are going from 120 maybe all the way down to 40, and it takes several seconds of time to do that. And you need those brakes which can perform under very hot temperatures. Okay, so upgraded brakes are really more of a track thing like that. There's almost no downtime between braking situations on a track. Well, I guess I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think you get the idea. So instead of spending all that money on, I see, oh boy, people will drop all kinds of money for the great brake pads and the Brembo brakes. You don't really need them. They do make a difference, but it's not really enough to justify the money when there are other gains to be made. So I guess that's all I'll say about that. I'm a few videos in right now making this free video series. If it's helping you and you like it, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. That'd be really helpful. It's really encouraging, and it really just kind of boosts me up and lets me make all kind of new videos. So I'll put a link on the screen right there. You can click over and get a subscription in right now, and that would be awesome. And I'm going to go start working on the next video now because I'm all pumped up, and I'll be back soon with another video from howtobecome a racecardriver.com. Take care.